Alright, people, back in effect. It's your boy Chig, sitting here with Robby Richmond, backed by popular demand.
Am
Did you
I?
know, Robby? Yeah.
Do people rate me?
Did you know there was such thing as a YouTube inbox? Because I had no idea until your appearance.
Yeah, I am aware that there's a YouTube inbox because I once put up, in fact, it's still up on my YouTube page. I once put up a video saying, rest in peace, Lex Luger. And obviously, Lex Luger hasn't died, and I did it just to troll people. And the amount of, every once in a while, I get in the inbox, he's not dead. He's not dead, is he? He's not dead. When did he die? How did he die? When did he die? Why are you chatting bobbins? Well, you've been trolled, sir. You have been royally rickrolled.
Oh boy, so it's that time that every Arsenal fans have been looking for and dreading at the exact same time. Our first game of the season is upon us, with no real strengthening that's taken place. It's going to be Arsenal versus Liverpool on Sunday. I'm having all the boys round. We're all nervously going to watch the game. I don't know if you're going to be doing the same way you are, Rob?
I will be watching it with my dad. And I will also be watching it with my youngest brother, Simon. And Simon is basically the bad luck charm of our family. So I'm trying to find ways to get Simon to fuck off.
No, I like Simon. Tell him to stick around.
Oh, he can get fucked. He's an asshole.
We need all the help we can get, let me tell you. So, in terms of the game,
yeah,
I banged on I did a quick show yesterday.
Yeah, I watched it earlier.
I went a right rant about the state. I don't even know why it turned into that. It just turned into a rant. What do you reckon about the game? How do you see it from a Liverpool perspective as us having us away as your first game?
Well, I think obviously in the grand scheme of life, universe, and football, you're going to be seeing this more and more often. The opening day of a season, you're going to see a big game somewhere. And let's make no bones about it. Arsenal versus Liverpool is a big game, and it's a game that's had lots and lots of goals recently and lots of excitement, and that's exactly why we've got it first day of the season. Liverpool were absolutely stupendous, for want of a better phrase. They did literally everything you could imagine Klopp wanted them to do against Barcelona at the weekend. And then the next day they flew out to Mainz, and the same players all flew out less than 24 hours later, and they got beaten 4-0. What are you going to do? What are you going to do? It's...
Was it the exact same starting lineup? I must admit.
Yeah, it was a much changed lineup, although Lallana started both games.
Okay.
And we've had this week we've had Roman, what's he called? No, Raymond the fitness egg, I like to call him. The guy that used to be the Dutch guy that used to be the Welsh fitness coach. Who loves to just randomly show up in the Daily Mail and going, do you know what? Your players are going to get injured. Do you know what, Raymond the fitness egg? Sooner or later, professional footballers are going to have to play professional football at a very high pace. And do you know what? You're right. They are going to get injured because that's what happens. Jesus. So we've got quite a few walking wounded, yeah? We've got quite a few walking wounded. We still haven't seen a lot of Joel Matip. We expect Clavan to start this weekend, and he's done very, very well for us in the pre-season games. We spoke about him a bit the other week. We touched on him. He's a strong character. But
I know you liked him a lot, right?
I do, yeah, I'm impressed. But having slept on it and having thought about it a little bit more, I'll say this, is that he is clearly a really good professional, really strong character. It comes as no surprise to find that he is shining very brightly. He's doing his very, very best to make a very big impression. Is that actually going to be sustainable over the course of a season? We'll have to wait and see. This weekend, all I wanted to do is just kick Giroud.
He ain't playing.
Is he not playing?
He's not going to play.
Is he not playing? Is he injured? Or is he just not fit yet?
He's been given an extended rest along with the
So they're going to play. They're going to play Apicon.
I suspect they'll either play Alexis up front or they'll play Theo up front.
Oh, please play Theo. Oh, please. Oh, please.
Oh
my God. Oh, it's got my nipples going. Oh, okay. My God.
Listen, now, come on now. Let's not do that kind of stuff.
Please play Theo. Please play Theo. Oh, my God.
You will rue your words. He'll come and score against you. You mark my words. And I have zero faith in Theo, by the way.
And quite rightly so. He's a fraud. He's a fake footballer.
I can't even defend him.
There is no defending him. There's no defending him. Right, listen. Goal scoring markets. First goal scorer for Arsenal, 5-1. Olivier Giroud. Sanchez, 5-1. Alex Iwobi, 6-1. Theo Walcott, 6-1. Wilcock. Who's Wilcock?
A young player for us. Wow. He's even on the market.
7-1. Right, and then you've got Campbell at 15-2. Ramsey at 9-1. Asano at 9-1, Ozil at 9-1, Cazorla at 10s. They've got Oxlade-Chamberlain down. He's not even fit, is he?
Yeah, he is.
Is he back?
Played really well. Really well. A couple of pre-season games that we've had.
Very good. Well, in that case, then I will have £1. I'll have one English pound on Lauren Koscielny to score at 40-1. I'll have that. But I just want to, like I said, so your main strikers are 5-1. Ours, Sadio Mane, Divock Origi, Daniel Sturridge, and Danny Ings are all 13-2 to score first.
Okay.
I think they expect Liverpool. I think the bookies expect Liverpool to come out of the blocks early. And to be fair, so do I. I expect what will happen will be this: is we'll play really well. We'll run you off the park. I'm still convinced you're not fit enough and not ready for the start of the season. And then you will get some sort of excellent header from a corner when we've all stood there ball watching, which, let's face it, is what Liverpool do at corners. I thought you had him. No. But I thought you had him. Yeah, but I didn't, did I? I thought you had him. Yeah, but I thought you had him.
Before you actually waste the money on that pound, I shouldn't even tell you, but I'll tell you, because Koscielny ain't going to play in that game either. Our defence
is it gonna be Chambers and the young lad Rob?
It's going to have to be. I mean,
now I understand. Yeah, that explains why all the Liverpool strikers are 13-2. Then, yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. To be honest with you, I wouldn't put it past Wenger to potentially play Monreal there.
Oh, really?
Don't get me started. But I can see him doing it. I can honestly see him doing it. Or Debussy or somebody like that.
Wow.
You want experience in that middle. Now, most Arsenal fans, if you ask any Arsenal fan, we dread the idea of that. But can kind of understand the thinking of, well, you've got one guy who's 20 years old and has never played in the Premier League. And then you've got another guy who's the exact same age, if not a year younger, who's had a handful of games and is still being developed.
Yeah, that's true, Chig. I see where you're coming from. I knew you had some injury problems. I didn't realise it was quite so bad. And obviously the German guy's not going to sign before the weekend, is he? So you can forget that. But that being said, if they've had like this full week to work together and they've been on the training pitch together and they build a bit of as much as you can in a week, a bond, and they're communicating better together, you're not going to become a bad team overnight, Chig. So like you said, notoriously, this is much like we said before, you can set your clock to when Arsenal have their late February meltdown. You can also set your clock to Arsenal not starting seasons very well. You know, like it was only 2 years ago. It was the Villa played you off the park.
Didn't even turn up that game.
No.
We were a shell of ourselves.
Exactly.
And how we even scored that one goal, I'll never know, to be honest.
Well, I remember that game quite vividly. It's one of them games when Benteke flatters to deceive. This is obviously before he got his move to Liverpool. Benteke showed up in all the big games against all the big sides. All of them. Benteke played really, really well against United, City, Chelsea, Arsenal, Spurs, Liverpool. And, of course, you saw what happened when he left. You saw what happened to Villa when he left. Conversely, as I said, Liverpool do have some injury issues. It looks like we're going to play Milner at left back.
Oh, wow. What's happened to your left backs?
Well, we have Alberto Moreno, and that is it. That is the only left back at the club officially, because we've sold Brad Smith. The backup to Nathaniel Klein is a very, very good, very talented young lad called Trent Alexander-Arnold, but he's only 18. He's kind of a fullback. He's one of these guys that, so the story goes, back in the day, the legendary Liverpool captain, Tommy Smith, when Steven Gerrard made his debut for Liverpool, was doing commentary on BBC Radio Merseyside. And he said, whatever you do, don't mess around with Gerrard. That is the best right back the club has ever seen. Don't move him about or anything. So, and obviously we know what happened with Gerrard. He went on to be, a pretty good player. He was all right. But we have this lad, Trent Alexander-Arnold, and we have, at the moment, as I said, Milner covering left back and right back. If we decide not to play Alberto Moreno, he hasn't had the best preseason. He hasn't played. He's one of them things. Like we talked about it before when we talked about the Seville Cup final. When he gets the ball, particularly at the Kop, this is, Jake, particularly when we're playing at Anfield. If he gets the ball, people are just going, oh, he's going to fuck it up. Oh, he's going to fuck it up. Oh, fuck. Oh, fuck. Every time he gets the ball. And it's exactly the same situation as we find ourselves with Mignolet. If the ball comes anywhere near Mignolet, we're all going, oh, fuck, oh, fuck, oh, fuck. We've just lost complete faith in them. And it's really, honestly, Chig, I'm telling you, mate, it's poisonous. It's absolutely toxic. Some of the abuse that Moreno gets, and he's a good player, but he's prone to a brain fart. It is absolutely toxic. Some of the stuff that's thrown at him, awful. And I don't know if it's justified in any way, shape, or form. To be honest with you, in the modern day, he's a professional footballer who makes mistakes. Show me one that doesn't. So we'll see what happens.
So is that your main injury worry?
Main concern is like that is the main concern. Obviously, Sturridge has had some sort of hip pointer issue where and we always worry when it's this common thing that we have, much like you guys at Arsenal, that we go, oh, for fuck's sakes. If he's got a bit of an ingrown toenail, it's the end of the world. You know what I mean with Sturridge? It's, oh, fucking hell, what we're going to do now, But, listen, like I said, you look back at that, the best example I can give you is the first goal against Barcelona. And that had me clapping and shouting and jumping off the couch. Lovely interplay from Lallana and Mane, and they just looked really, really sharp. And as I've said to you before, it's not a huge fix at Liverpool. It really isn't a huge fix. We do have some really good players. It's more to do with getting that system to work. And what we've done is we've added a lot of pace and we've added a lot of potential goals. Mane's flying at the moment. Now, you do generally have to be worried about Sadio Mane. He looks like he's fitted in straight away. We knew he was a good player. We all knew he was a good player who needed a second chance. And he just looks like, as I said to you before, a typical Klopp player. He's big and strong. He's physical. He likes the physicality. He's quick, and he will run himself silly for you. Now, compare that with Firmino, who has many of the same qualities, but Firmino gives the ball away far too much. He just, he doesn't retain possession.
Your luxury player, maybe?
To an extent, yes. But Firmino has this, Firmino post-Christmas, as I said to you last time I was on the show, but Firmino post-Christmas scored 9 and 16 once he found his feet.
Okay.
The fact that he gives the ball away is, in my opinion, quite, this is me saying it as well, is quite hypercritical because players are going to give the ball away. And this was in relation to last season. Now we've returned to this idea of pass and move the Liverpool groove. You watch any of the pre-season games of Liverpool, pass, move, high tempo, find space, give somebody a short option, one-touch passing, the kind of stuff that Arsenal fans love. And Liverpool fans in the 80s were brought up on. So I expect Firmino to start. It will be interesting to see. I expect him to go 4-3-3, not 4-2-5-1. I expect him to go 4-3-3 with Mane, Firmino. Sorry, mate?
Is Coutinho fit, by the way?
He is fit. Yeah, Coutinho's fit. Very fit. Do you know what? He's actually put some size on. He looks more, not husky, but he looks like he's been in the gym. Do you know what I mean? He looks like he's in good shape, and obviously needed that little bit more physicality.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. So I expect him to go Mane, Firmino, and Coutinho as a front three, with Lallana, Chan, and probably Henderson in the middle of the park.
So who's the centre of that three?
Chan, with the other two on the other sides.
Who's Chan?
Emre Chan.
Oh no, I meant the front three.
The front three. That's the great thing about it. Again, there was a really, really great tactical analysis on the Anfield Wrap website.
Okay.
And what they were talking about was the interchangeability. That's a word I've just made up. Interchangeability. It's like something from a Christopher Nolan film. We're going against Stella. How? We're going to use interchangeability. How are we going to do the Inception thing? We're going to use the interchangeability box. Oh, okay. But what they do is it's just movement up front. You go there, you go there. We have completely changed the way that we've returned to that early Rodgers style of find space, move, find space, move, find space, move. And we've been pulling, like, there was a good 20 minutes where Barcelona were just chasing shadows at the weekend. They were just chasing shadows. In the second half, when we brought Origi on as well, they're just chasing shadows. And that's obviously something that, Barcelona aren't really used to doing. And we also know that in the Premiership, they are going to let us do it. They are going to close us down. They're going to shut up shop. They're going to park that bus. So this idea of moving the three lads up front around and finding space and running angles and running down the channels is much, much more in keeping with Kloppish football than we've seen thus far in Klopp's Liverpool reign. So,
here's the thing.
Go on.
I think Wenger's trying to do something similar. I think all these stories, like, I think every Arsenal fan is expecting us to be pushing and pushing for Lacazette, and that would still be my preference. But I've noticed that with this Mahrez thing, that maybe his intention is to move Alexis up front in a false number 9 role, almost like Mane.
Yeah.
And then play Mahrez on the right and maybe Iwobi on the left.
Yeah, I mean, I think in the meantime, until you can get somebody like Mahrez or Lacazette or anybody else, Joel Campbell can do that job for you. He is I'm a big advocate of the guy. I don't think he scores enough goals, but much like your man that's injured from United, whose name escapes me. What's he called? Sick note, lad.
Oh,
Welbeck's, yeah. But listen, I like Campbell because he'll run himself silly like Welbeck. But I think he's a little bit more intelligent with where he runs. And I think Welbeck just goes, I'll just head for the corner flag over there and you see if you can hit me. I can see where you're coming from. That with Sanchez and Iwobi and another player who potentially, I firmly believe that you're going to do business. By the way, I expect somebody to come in.
You are massive advocates of Wenger and trusting him, and I understand why from an outside point of view.
Yeah,
completely get it. From our point of view, we see this pattern all too.
Oh yeah.
I mean, I tell you what, I called it from the very flipping start. I said it at the time that we activated Vardy's release clause. I thought we would fuck that up, and we did. We did, and I know that.
I don't. Chigs, mate. Come on, listen. Let's be real here. Vardy had no intention of leaving. You were being used, and you. It's Chiggy. Come on, it's not the first time. It won't be the last, and you guys know better than anybody that this happens all of the time, and it's very easy to get very excited about him. But realistically, would he have been the player to fit in to do what we've just talked about? Run channels and get into corners. Yes, he can do that, but what else does he do? He can only play. You would have to play one way to fit him.
This is the thing that I said at the very time that we activated the video, and the video is up literally on the day of I saw the news. I did a video, and I said that first of all, I ended the video by saying I don't think he'll come, and I also said that I felt like Vardy wouldn't have a good season this year. The reason being is I feel like defenders will be wise to him now.
Yeah, been worked out. Yeah.
Yeah. United showed the way to play Vardy. And that is essentially drop deep and literally don't give the man space.
Yeah.
Now, all right, people might laugh at that and say, but didn't he do something on Saturday? I get that, but generally they had him contained. Generally, he had to resort to running down the wings. I watched that game very closely.
You're preaching to the converted, mate. Yeah, listen, I'm with you all the way. If you go and watch back Leicester against all of the big sides, City, Chelsea, Liverpool, United, all of them did not show Leicester enough respect. They all played far too high. The only team that didn't play high against them was Spurs. Because Pochettino is, pretty switched on dude tactically. Really, really astute tactically. But the rest of them went, well, come on, listen, it's still Leicester. We're still going to play a high line. So, yeah, listen, the jig is up in that respect. The secret is out on the way Leicester want to play. And it's not going to happen this season. It's not going to happen. It's not going to happen.
So, going back to, we're digressing like fuck it. So
we're going everywhere. A bit of a tangent, thanks to our intertertiarity taxarization box thing that I've invented. What the fuck I was on about? Sorry, dude.
You cannot talk about Arsenal without talking about, at least for me anyway. I can't talk about Arsenal without talking about the transfer window. I'm going to try and stop. So, in terms of the middle three of you guys. Why do you think Klopp will set them up that way?
Because I expect our fullbacks to bomb on. So what we've been doing is we've been playing. It's very similar to some of the things we did with Rodgers, where Gerrard would drop into a back three when we had the ball and we play quicker from the back. And it was heavily reliant on our fullbacks, even though one of them was Ali Sissoko in that season where we nearly won the league, as we like to call it. That season where we nearly won the league.
The slip.
Anyway, hey, listen, it is what it is, man. I know Stell often talks about, they let in 52 goals like that season, Liverpool. Yeah, but we scored 111.
Yeah.
If you're going to play attacking football, you are going to let in goals, right? You know, because even Barcelona don't have a brilliant defensive record, do they? Come on.
That's true.
So
that's true. You can always win the league if you can score goals.
I expect, anyway, coming back to this weekend, what I expect Liverpool to do and what we've seen them do a lot of is when we have the ball early on, Chan drops into a back three. And then when we haven't got the ball, Henderson's been playing as more of the holding midfielder. So Henderson just does that Mascherano thing, but obviously not quite so well, where he just shuffles in front of the back four. And it's just doing shuttle runs across the back four. Just like, I'm just going to chase the ball. I'm just going to chase the ball. I'm just going to put you under pressure. I'm going to try and get you to make a mistake. And that's probably why we're seeing a lot of talk about Milner playing as a fullback. Because, his dead ball stuff has been absolutely pish. It's been pitiful. But he's still able to get to the byline and get a good cross in. He's still more than capable of doing that. At nearly 30 for a guy who's been playing top league football since he was 16 and should basically be dead now. Because if Milner's got one thing, it's an engine, and the fact that he's still got one at 30 and players like Lucas Leiva at 28, 29 haven't, says a lot about the kind of person that he is, you know. What Liverpool are going to try and look to do is pressure you into mistakes. We've seen it work in the past. We're going to put a lot of pressure on your back four when you haven't got the ball, and we're going to do everything in our power to get Czech to boot it downfield, and we're going to get the ball back. And then if everything works well, we can put you under pressure. It was very interesting the weekend because the thing that I took into account again, you know, playing a bit of Monday morning quarterback. Wembley's a massive pitch, and Liverpool made it look manageable in terms of, like, it's killed us when we've done it in the past, trying to cut people off and trying to pressurize the opposition. You know, it's a big pitch, and we were able to do that really well at the weekend, which probably says something about. You know, he spent a lot of time, money, effort, and energy in reworking the fitness levels of the club. I was very concerned last season, at the start of the season, that we just obviously weren't fit enough. Players like Emre Can, who I genuinely expect to become a Rolls Royce of a player in the next 2 or 3 years, and I certainly don't expect him to be at Liverpool in 2 or 3 years, was obviously not fit. Or fit enough, shall we say, considering we are at the very highest level of the game. That's gone out the window this season. And as Stell has alluded to, we expect the gegenpressing to actually happen this season. That they now know the system, they now know exactly what is expected of them, and they also now have genuinely built some camaraderie in the side, which was sorely missing. Sorely missing. Really, really was. And that again comes back to we've spoken about this before. This idea of when my theory is that when we lost the league, the slip, it broke Steven Gerrard's heart, and quite understandably so. You know, and the depression, the heartache, the heartbreak spread through the club like a yeast infection.
And ended Rodgers really from that point onwards.
Yeah, because they were never going to be able to recover from it because because he was the focal point of the squad, the focal point of the team, and the focal point of the club, which, as much as I respect and admire Steven Gerrard, nobody's bigger than the club. And there was a couple of years there, particularly where this thing where when he left happened, where it seemed like it was all right because it's Steven Gerrard. And yet this week I read things like, there was a load of Liverpool fans who were really, really not happy that we sang the Just Can't Get Enough song for Luis Suarez at the weekend. Okay. But these are the same guys that go, Steven Gerrard's the best player we've ever produced. Yeah, do you know what? Steven Gerrard is the best player we've ever produced. But he's not bigger than the club. Is he? No, he's exactly the same thing for you guys with Arsenal, isn't it? You know, Özil and Sanchez are not bigger than the club. Tony Adams wasn't bigger than the club. Bergkamp wasn't bigger than the club. Thierry Henry thought he probably was. That's a bit, you know, but I'm not the biggest fan of Thierry Henry, who was a fun.
Yes, I get that feeling.
I respect him as a footballer. He was a brilliant player. I just don't like him as a commentator because he sounds like he's gargling marbles. I can't understand what he's saying. You know, I can't understand what you're saying.
either. I really don't.
Sounds like you're giving dolphins a blowjob.
I mean, in comparison, I think our front three will consist of. I think he'll start Alexis up front. Probably, I think he'll be impressed with the way Theo had a good last preseason game. To be fair, probably the biggest compliment I can give him. I thought the last preseason game he had might have played him into the starting lineup. So I think he'll probably start on the right with Robby on the left. I'm hoping Theo can cause your left back problems, but I wouldn't hold my breath. He does tend to play well against you guys, and I know.
Yeah, because he's always fixing for the move, isn't he? Because he wants to play for Liverpool. Come on, we all know it. He's a Liverpool fan.
He's a Liverpool fan. So yeah.
I was going to say this to you about Theo: is Theo doesn't show up in a lot of big games, particularly in Europe. He goes missing all the time, in my opinion. Yeah. But against Liverpool, he always has this wonderful tendency to play quite well.
There are weirdly 3 teams Theo plays well against. Barca, weirdly. Liverpool.
For the dream move that's never going to happen.
And then Chelsea. It's like, okay. Those are the teams he plays. The other teams, I don't know what happens. He just freezes. But those 3 teams, for some reason, he always plays well against.
Yeah, it happens, mate. You know, we've all seen it where, who was the lad who always played well for, oh, no, your man Sissoko, innit, at Newcastle. Sissoko plays really, really, really well against Arsenal. Always plays really well against Arsenal. Always plays really well against United and nobody else.
Yeah.
The rest of the time, he's just an empty shirt. And, mate, we all know it goes on. You know, we're stupid, but we're not complete fucking idiots. Do you know what I mean?
Well, that was like Darren Fletcher for you. Sorry, was it Darren Fletcher for you guys? Who, I swear, I don't know what he did for United until it came to Arsenal. And then he was a beast for you guys.
Fletcher for United, you mean?
Oh, for United, sorry. Not for you guys.
Fletcher showed up. Now, there's another guy that Stel will tell you. Fletcher was a guy who showed up in all of the big games because he never thought he was going to start any of them. for quite a period of time. I don't think I'm not trying to disrespect him because I think that Fletcher is a really great professional, but he had this amazing ability that in the big games he was a very, very good Roy Keane facsimile. He wasn't, Roy Keane, but he was not far away from it, and he was always able to give United exactly what they needed. Fair play to him, yeah. It's interesting as well that your man Fiberglass, as my dad calls him, Fiberglass since he's gone to Chelsea hasn't shown up in a lot of big games.
Since he's gone to Chelsea?
Since he's gone to Chelsea. Now I put that down to that the other teams have basically said, right, we're going to put 2 players on him, we're going to cut them down, we're going to shut them down, we're not going to give him a lot of space. We're not going to give him the opportunity to dominate the game. And I expect that to happen to you guys with Xhaka. That he might get 3 months where he's bedding in and people are going, Coy is a good player. Because he is a good player. You've signed a really good player in Granit Xhaka. No questions. Anybody that tells you he's not any good, anybody that tells you that he wouldn't play for Real Madrid or Barcelona, yes, he fucking would. Yes, he would. He is an excellent signing for Arsenal. Early on, he will, if he settles in well, which, touch wood, I hope all the best for the guy. I expect him to really get Arsenal going. Really, really get you going through the gears in the middle of the pitch, which we always thought / hoped / daydreamed would happen with Wiltshire. This player in the middle of the park, much like Santi, who's going to go, right, can we crack on now? I expect him to be that player for you. After Christmas, when other teams have probably worked out what he's up to, that might change. Hopefully it doesn't, because he is a very strong-willed, physical player.
I just realised the Chelsea player you're talking about. You're talking about Matic, right?
No, I'm talking about Fabregas. I'm talking about Fabregas. Fabregas. Do you remember that guy that used to play for you that would take the game by the scruff of the neck? And literally carry the ball. He would literally drag the team kicking and screaming sometimes. That player, though, is dead. He is not there anymore.
They play Cesc the wrong way. They play him way too deep. Cesc is not that type of player.
Exactly. Now, it might change under Conte, but this is what I'm saying to you about Granit Xhaka. If they play him further up the pitch, if he went out and if Bellerin's able to do a really strong job in the middle of the park, hold the ball up, move the ball at a higher tempo, which he's capable of doing, we know he is, then you will probably see Xhaka have a very good, strong opening start to the season. Particularly if, as you say, they play Sanchez as a false nine. Because we know that Sanchez will just run and run and run and run. Bit worrying, though, that he's now gone 3 years without a rest. Like a proper rest.
Yeah.
Genuinely concerned.
And he doesn't like to rest.
No, but listen, dude, that is that South American mentality that we saw the same thing with Suarez. We see it with Aguero. You know, the stories about Aguero that when he's injured, they have to. He has like a minder when he's in recovery, because he pushes himself too hard and gets injured again. You know, he has to have, and he's not the only one. There are plenty of players that are like that, obviously, but it's amazing how we have genuinely had South American footballers playing in the Premiership for 20 years now, since 1996. And in other countries, we have seen this mentality that they've introduced at clubs, particularly in Europe, definitely in Europe, where it's like win at all costs, cheat to win, we don't give a shit, win. Just fucking win. And because of the stiff upper lipness of British, we still go, oh, he's diving. What a dirty bastard. Oh, bloody hell. What's it bloody there? I'm saying that in my Daily Mail voice there.
I guess.
But do you know what I mean? Like, we still go, oh, look, he's dived. What are you going to do? Let's just fucking hang on for 2 minutes here and realise they're trying to tell us something. If you want to win, what are you willing to do to win? You've got to be willing to do more. Sanchez, is Sanchez captain this year for Arsenal? And if not, why not? Because he is the heartbeat of your team still.
Truth be told, I have no idea what's going on with our captain.
Because obviously it was Mertesacker, wasn't it?
I assumed it was Mertesacker, but
yeah.
As you say, I think Czech is vice captain.
Yeah.
And what I mean, I don't know what you think. I hate the idea of a goalkeeper being a captain.
Yeah, pros and there's a lot of good pros to it, but I think the cons outweigh it. That he's able to see everything. He's able to shout at his players. He's an experienced and domineering voice in the changing rooms. But there's not a lot he can actually do to change the game like somebody like Sanchez could, aside from obviously making a brilliant save or two, which we know Czech can do. Is Czech on the bubble? Is he on the bubble of, you know, is he right in the middle of his prime, or is he just coming off the end of his prime into...
It's funny you should say that, because I made a video where I thought he was coming off his prime.
This is why I mentioned it, G. This is why I mentioned it, you know?
I guess this season will tell us that.
Yeah.
We'll answer that question. Last season, for me, it wasn't an impressive season. It wasn't a bad season. I don't know. You can't tell somebody who won the Golden Gloves last season that he had a bad season, because you'd sound ridiculous.
But yeah,
I think that in terms of outstanding performances, if we're honest, there wasn't really that many. A handful, maybe.
No. But the thing with Czech is, you don't need, because he's a goalie. You don't need good performances.
Yeah.
You need great moments. You need good saves.
Yeah.
You need someone who is going to do their job. Now,
Yeah.
let me ask you this question then. So, I'll give you Mignolet. Right? You can have Mignolet as your backup goalie to check.
I'd rather Chesney.
Eh?
I'd rather Chesney than Mignolet. I don't rate.
Well, listen, I'd rather wank off my dad than watch Mignolet in goal. So,
Oh my God, I just don't rate Mignolet at all.
no.
He was so good at Sunderland, and I don't know what.
The thing is, this is the thing, and this comes back to something that. So for the listeners and watchers, viewers, people watching this don't realise it. So my brother was a professional rugby player, played for Northampton Saints 125 times, and he's now an international and Aviva Premiership rugby coach. So he's an international rugby coach for Argentina, and he's a coach now for Coventry Wasps, that used to be called Wycombe Wasps, that used to be called London Wasps, and they just move around. High standard of the game, right?
Okay.
What Dan has to do with hookers, so obviously hookers throw the ball into the line out and they hook in the scrum. Dan's job is to ensure that you focus your mind, you focus your energy, and you get your technique right every single time you do things, right? And that means breaking down the mechanics of the things that you're doing, and the more you do them, the better you'll get at them. Juxtapose this to Simon Mignolet, who, when he arrived from Sunderland, as you said, good keeper. He's a very good shot stopper. He has not kicked on. Two reasons for this. One is we brought in Adam Bogdan, so he's never felt like he's challenged, right? He always knew he was going to have the shirt.
Even when better than Bogdan, FYI.
Right, exactly. Last season we had, everyone knows about that. The season before last, we had that option on the final day. We either take Balotelli or we take Samuel Eto'o, right? In the last pre-season, the top name on the list, the transfer list for goalkeepers, was Kasper Schmeichel, who was available on a free. Right? Now, Kasper Schmeichel has subsequently stayed at Leicester and has won the championship. And he is a good goalkeeper.
What a signing that would have been for you.
But he never would have signed for us because his dad, the connection with United, it's just like, it was never going to happen. But the fact that the next name on that list was Adam Bogdan, because much like Benteke, much like so many other players, he had a good game against Liverpool for Blackburn in the FA Cup. Adam Bogdan. If you don't have players that challenge, if you don't have players that are kicking your ass in training and challenging you, you're sunk, right? So that's the first problem with Mignolet. The second problem with Mignolet is the Liverpool goalkeeping coach, John Achterberg, who used to play for like Doncaster and Gillingham and Chesterfield and players like that. With respect, simply isn't fucking good enough as a goalkeeping coach, right? It's one of those things where you can just see he hasn't kicked on as a player. He has, apparently this summer he's been working really hard on his kicking, right? Well, that's great. You've been practicing your kicking, okay? Considering it's been really bad ever since you got here. And now that you've finally started practicing your kicking from goal, we don't want you to do that anymore. Because we haven't got a great big target man up front anymore. We want you to play it short to the fullback. We want to play it short all the time. My old man has a heart attack every single time the ball goes anywhere near Mignolet's feet. And that's why we brought in Karius, it's obviously why we brought in Karius.
But Mignolet's starting on Sunday, right?
He is starting. Karius has got a broken hand.
I had to take him out of my fantasy football team. I was gutted. I'm trying to put Liverpool...
Well, we come back... Chiggy, we come back to Raymond the fitness egg, professional footballers get injured. How did he break his hand in the gym then? Did he? Or did he from overtraining? Did he? No, he did it playing football on the pitch, you bellend. what can you do? Realistically, what can you do? Injuries are going to happen, right? They are going to happen. There are things you can do to prevent them, but you can't do all of the things all of the time, right? Because sooner or later, footballers have to play football.
Speaking of injuries,
yeah,
in terms of Lovren, please tell me he's not going to be there on Sunday because he played kind of well against Barca. I'm a bit worried.
Mate, Lovren, it will be Lovren +1 all season. It will be Lovren will be the first name on the team, one of the first names on the team sheet for Liverpool, essentially because.
Where's this form come from?
Because
the last time I looked at Lovren,
Chiggy,
he was falling over himself.
Mate, it's simply down to some players take time to settle at a club, right? And this is something we talked about when Stel was on the show before. The Liverpool back in the day, and Arsenal as well, and many other clubs, when we had proper reserve team football that we don't have, and that's one of the big problems why England are shit at football.
Yes.
We brought in players in the 80s like Sammy Lee and Ronnie Whelan, and we bought them, and nobody saw them for 18 months when they played until they'd learned to play the Liverpool way, the pass and move, the Liverpool groove. Until they'd learned to play that way, you didn't see them. Alan Hansen came to Liverpool as a holding midfield player, and when he played in the reserves, they realised he'd be better off playing as a centre half. Right, that kind of opportunity to experiment is gone from the game. That opportunity to bed yourself in at a club is gone from the game. And again, we come back to Czech. The first game of last season made a bit of a clanger, didn't he? And the whole world was on his back. Yeah? But we also, we look back at the end of the season, we look back at the conversation we've just had now. He didn't have a bad season. We still know he's a good goalkeeper. But definitely. He was, he's in a situation where he's working it out with his teammates. Should I come for this? Where's the call? Who's calling for it? Those sort of things, unless you've got plenty of time on the training field all of the time, these things are going to happen, And
to be honest, that's why I hesitate to write him off, because you just players. A good example of everything we're saying is Monreal. The first couple of seasons, let's be honest, if Arsenal fans listen to this are honest with themselves, I would say most people were writing off Monreal. And when they moved Monreal to the middle, oh my gosh, the whole Twitter just exploded with people writing off Monreal, saying sell him now, sell him now. And then 18 months ago, it's like this motherfucker just thought,
it clicked,
and literally started playing in left back, was so consistent, absolutely running the show. For a while, was one of the best left backs in the league. This was completely killing. And now he's one of the first names on the team sheet.
Exactly. See, and I think this is something that, as I say, this is something that has definitely gone out of the game very much in the last 20 years. It just there are you can point fingers of blame at people at the FA and at the PFA and at the Premier League. There are plenty of people you can poke fingers at and go, "You twat, you've ruined football," in many ways. But like Jordan Henderson was going to be sold. He'd been there for a year and a half, and Rodgers was going to sell him, and now, okay, he hasn't quite become the player that we hoped he'd be, but we know he's a reliable, dependable player for Liverpool. He's going to be the captain again, and we expect, now he's got his injury problems out of the way, we're expecting a good season for him. Nacho Monreal come from Spain, where it's incredibly technical, but it's still not anywhere near as fast as it is here in the Premiership. And he's kind of like he's pretty laid back, isn't he? When he first arrived, he was so laid back, I thought he was asleep sometimes. He's pretty.
Yeah,
it takes time to adjust, and we're generally, as supporters, because there are not enough voices inside of the football media that say, calm your tits, give him a chance. He's only been here 5 minutes, for fuck's sake. Just calm your tits, Nobody says it. Nobody says it, so nobody thinks it. And unfortunately, like, we live on Twitter these days. And as you say, any opportunity to just batter a player, abuse a player, I don't really have any time for it, because we all know they're good footballers, or they wouldn't be playing at this fucking level. Do you know what I mean? They'd be playing Sunday League football if they weren't any cop. Come on. So it's, we had the same thing with Bobby Firmino. That Firmino arrived. He's still learning English now. Right? Up until Christmas, playing in a team that wasn't doing very well under Rodgers, couldn't quite work out what he was doing. As I said to you before, gave the ball away an awful lot. Couldn't get on the same page with Benteke. Couldn't really get on the same page with Lallana. And then after Christmas, clicks. 9 in 16 is very, very, very good. All right, by anybody's standards. Post-Christmas, it's very good. So if we get 10 goals out of him this season, he's had a good season. That's our bet. If you set realistic benchmarks for players, right, I would like Mesut Ozil to score more goals for Arsenal. I don't think Mesut scores enough, right? I would like to think that Mesut would score 10 to 15 goals, considering the amount of chances that Arsenal make.
Yeah.
I agree with that. You've got to put yourself in a situation where you can set realistic, attainable goals. There's no point in turning around and saying, well, I want 40 goals out of Giroud. Right? Because if you get 20, you're over the fucking moon anyway. Come on. That. You can't turn around and go, well, I expect Alexis Sanchez to score 14 hat-tricks over the course of this period before Christmas.
Well, to be fair, any striker that scores at least 20 goals in a season isn't a bad striker, to be honest.
20 goals is the standard. 20 goals is what you want, Well, everybody turned around and said, fucking hell, Benteke had a stinker. He scored 11 goals for Liverpool, considering that he started 14, 15 games, came off the bench a couple of times, still scored 11 goals, I didn't know
he started that many, to be honest. So would you keep Benteke then, having said all that?
We talked about this with Stel. No, I think they want him off the books. I don't think we need him. I think that I understand why they bought, as I said to you before, I understand why they bought him. But I think £30 million on a plan B is a lot of money for a plan B to bring somebody off the bench with 20 minutes to go and then boot it up the field. It's not that he's a bad player. It's just the wrong fit for Liverpool.
Yeah, it doesn't suit your style of football. He really doesn't.
He really doesn't. You can't.
He actually suits Palace. He really does suit Palace.
He will go somewhere like Palace. They've been talking about him going to Everton this week. He'd do well at Everton. He'd do well at Palace. He would. Do you know like the one team that haven't been mentioned by him, and I'm absolutely over the moon that they haven't, West Ham, because we know what Andy Carroll can do, but is he ever fit is his big question. And the other team that I'm really, really pleased that nobody's mentioned him going to is Stoke. Because Stoke needs someone who's a big threat at set pieces, because they win a lot of set pieces, a lot of free kicks in and around the area. Where they've got, oh God, what's his face? Little Bojan Krkic. They've got Sheridan Shaqiri. They're nimble and quick, and they earn a lot of free kicks. And a lot of sides, like if you're playing somebody like a West Brom or a freaking Crystal Palace, they're just going to go, fuck, should we kick him? Yeah, we better kick him. Just kick him. Just fucking kick him. All right.
But they're all over.
They put themselves in a situation where if they thought about it a little bit more, they went a different way with it. Stoke potentially have huge opportunities to score a lot of goals from set pieces. But the other issue is that they have Bojan, they have Shaqiri, they have Antimovic, and they all go, oh, I'll have a pop from here. You're not, that's 1 + 2 = 3. But you find these sort of situations where they go, oh, look, we've got another free kick in and around the area. Instead of finding a way where we stand a 75% better chance of scoring, let's go with this 25% chance of scoring from this free kick. That kind of thing. But that is another issue that goes back to not having enough reserve team football, and there's not enough common sense in a lot of professional footballers when it comes to the best way to actually score, as opposed to the best way to actually make me look good and score, maybe. Yeah?
Yeah, I mean, I agree with you in a way, because I know that Stoke at the moment are looking at Berahino.
Oh, the mythical Berahino. He's like the Pokemon that everybody wants and nobody wants at the same time. And
yeah, I just don't.
yeah.
I mean, funny enough, somebody at work once said to me, "Oh, what do you reckon about getting Berahino?" This was not this season; it was the season before. And I was just like, for what he is, he's about 20 million too much. I think potentially,
I wouldn't be spending 25, 30 million on a player that's got chronic tendonitis. You know, he's got chronic tendonitis. I understand why Spurs have been linked with him, because him and your man Harry Kane have done very, very well together at international level in the under-21s. They do look like peas and carrots together. They genuinely do. But does that mean that they're going to reproduce that in the Premiership? Don't know. Don't think so, because I think looking really, really good for England's 21s is one thing. Against fucking Papua New Guinea, as we saw at the week, we beat them 7-0 in the Le Tournoi, didn't we? We beat Guinea 7-0. And, all of a sudden you've got world beaters here, there, and everywhere. No. Come on. No. Let's not be fucking silly, you know? Just take a fucking moment. Let's take a fucking moment to realise this kid that's 18 years old and can't get a game for fucking West Brom isn't the answer. It's not, you must try harder, must look harder than that, You can't... If Berahino will get a club, right? Because fuck it, he just doesn't want to be there, And sooner or later it gets to the point where you go, do you know what? We want this kid out of here because he's just causing grief. He's just causing grief around the changing room. I can't see him being there much longer. And he's the sort of player I expect to go on the last day. He's in a helicopter on his way to Sunderland. Do you know what I mean? Something like that. He's on his way to Sunderland in a helicopter. Something like that.
I think so. But for his sake, I hope he doesn't do a Peter Odemwingie.
Oh, I'm sitting here hoping and praying that somebody's stupid enough to do that this year. I'm kind of hoping it's Balotelli, to be honest with you. Do you know what I mean? I'm really hoping Balotelli's in his helicopter, the Balotelli chopper. That's actually really good. Think about that. The Balotelli chopper. Balotelli chopper. That sounds good, doesn't it? Quick, man, to the Balotelli copter.
I just remembered you still got Balotelli.
We still got Balotelli, yeah. There's Chievo, Ajax. There's talk of him going to Ajax on a free and Liverpool getting Al-Warani, the Dutch Moroccan winger who's very, very nippy.
Okay.
I've only seen him twice and he just looked quick. I'm not really sure about his end product or anything. He just looked really quick.
In the Premier League is always useful.
The whole situation, the whole way we want to play is built around pace. There's another pair of legs, isn't it? That's really, really quick. We'll see. Listen, I've got to go for a pee. I know this sounds inappropriate, so Phil.
All right. Go
pee. Back in a minute.
Yeah. I'll tell the people what sort of team I want. So while Robby's gone for a pee, so just to give you an idea of what I'm thinking about in terms of the Arsenal game, because I know we're digressing like a motherfucker here. I apologise for that. Essentially, I feel like we're probably going to go with Alexis up front, Theo on the right, Robby on the left. Crucially in the middle, I've said this before and I say it again, I think we have the most complete midfield in the Premier League. I really do. I think when all of us are fit, we have so many beautiful options in that midfield. And in terms of the midfield for Sunday's game, some of you might agree, some of you may disagree. I think what he will end up doing is playing Xhaka and Coquelin with Ozil just in front. What I think we should do is play El Nene and Xhaka with Ozil just up front, just because I feel like with Liverpool, I feel like we'll have more presence in the middle. I don't know what you think, Robby. I see your back.
I returned. By the way, viewers, I did wash my hands.
I was kind of quick, so I don't
And I've
know.
also got some. I've been using this. I've got kind of addicted to hand sanitizer because it feels really, really nice. And I have a bit of a, look,
You never think the guy that has that beard would also have hand sanitizer.
my friend. So many people come up to me and go, did you see that BuzzFeed article about how many bits of shit there are in your beard and stuff, Rob? And I go, yes, I did. Do you know why? Because I fucking wrote it. And they go, did you? No, fuck off. I have, right? In my beard, I have, hang on a second, I will show you. I will actually show you. We'll just go off on a tangent, okay?
Are you literally about to show me beard products right now?
I am about to show you beard products.
Okay, all right.
Don't disrespect my beard products, sir.
Go ahead.
Depending on what day it is, now, listen, ladies, if you're watching this, we all know that when it's a bit humid, your facial hair or your hair can get a bit frizzy, right? So I've got some of this, which is called Miraculous Leave-In Conditioner. Okay, now I got this from Aldi for 99p because I'm a cheap bastard. Okay, and all I do is I take a couple of little squirts like this, a little bit of that, boom, 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 boom. Give it a bit of a, oh, it feels nice. And you know what? It smells of jojoba. Jojoba, whatever the fuck that is, right? Then I take, once I've given it a good process, I've got my tangle-free brush. Give it a bit of a tangle out, a bit of that. See, looking smooth, looking good, yeah?
Oh, wow.
All right, and then last but by no means least, I have my big brush and one more through, all right? And if you want to look suave and dapper, on a humid day, such as today, you use that. If not, you can always try L'Oreal's Super Pear Tangle Tamer, which is always good because it smells of pear. Ladies like pears, I've discovered. Or if you're feeling really sassy, you can try some Body Shop coconut oil, and you'll smell like coconuts. And people wander past people, and they go, "Can you smell coconuts?" And then you can turn around and go, "Yes, darling, it's me." You're welcome. But as I've also discovered, do not put Vicks Vapor Rub in your beard. It's the same reason why you shouldn't shave your pubes when you've got crabs. The end. That went off on a bit of a tangent, didn't it? Calm down, Chiggy. We're all right. Don't worry. Actually, it's
people. So this is one.
Your inbox is going to be full of people going, who the fuck was that cunt? Hey, did he kill Lex Luger?
Oh, man.
Fucking hell. Oh, that's good, isn't it? Oh, dear me.
Let me finish one.
All right, we'll finish off there now that I've completely ruined. Nobody will ever take me seriously ever again. And you know what? You fucking shouldn't take me seriously. Why? Because I've got a fucking huge beard and I'm a bit of a hipster and a twat.
I was going to say, I said you're backed by popular demand. They're going to be like...
Get to fuck. Not this time. Not this time, Barbie. Don't put that bell end on ever again.
But yeah, so I mean, I think defense-wise, defense more or less picks it's available.
Yeah. I think it's the same for both teams in that respect, Jig. I really do. Like, it's not. You can't really quantify for it. The lad you're bringing in though is a tidy player. Shari. Good player, mate. Tidy. He'll do a good job for you because it's one of them things where the Germans produce really good centre halves that can play the ball really well out the back, and that's exactly what you need. You know, he's pretty no nonsense. In a perfect world, I'd have liked you to say fuck it and let's sign Howdes as well, and like you'll just fix the problem for the next 5-10 years. But hey, you know, Wenger, we know what he's like. We know what he's like. He's like, well, look, I put in an inquiry for £15.20 to buy this player. You can't say I haven't tried to buy him. So I've offered them £15.20 and a bag of chicken bits, and and a half-eaten pizza, and I'll take them to go and watch the BFG.
To be honest, mate, I'd be surprised.
Is that a deal? Is that a deal? Is that a deal? Is that the kind of thing that we're looking for here? Because I'm looking for the value for money here. I'm Arsene Wenger. I'm looking for value for money. And in my opinion, a bag of chicken and £15.20 is a fair deal. And if you get really lucky, I'll take you to the cinema and I'll wank you off. Oh my God. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's just we
surprised if we. I mean, he looks like a very more like literal.
Yeah. No, I know. I know where you're coming from with this. Like, on paper, he fits Arsenal really, really well. But again, just as a review of what we talked about, he's going to be. On paper, he's a really good signing. He fits Arsenal's style, but you still need to give him time to adjust to the Premiership. You still have to be a bit patient with him. It's not going to be the amount of players that come in and just go, bye bye, look at me, I'm awesome. Da, 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 da. Doesn't happen very often, Happened with Sanchez. Happened a bit with Ozil, and then he went off the boil because he was exhausted, and then he came back.
I think on replacement.
You're frozen a bit there. You're just frozen out a little bit there, Chigs. What's happening? I'm just literally my beard. Don't worry, I'll just play with my beard, and whilst we're having these little. There you go. Now we're back. Okay. Yeah. Be patient. Be patient, dude. Listen, Chigs. I think the one thing that I can say is, regardless of all the money that Arsenal have, they still have the same problem as every other team in the Premiership and in world football. The one thing you can't buy is time. And that's what this Arsenal team will need, is time. They need time to get fully fit because they have had so many players away at the Euros. They need time to bed in the new players. And they need time early in the season, hopefully, to get things right and not fuck up in Europe, which is the thing that always worries me, because you're not always going to get. Now they've changed how the European Cup happens. It always worries me that when they get the group stages, the first couple of games have been really not inspiring. The last couple of years again, that they've got through just last season, and the Olympiacos looked really, really good against Arsenal. I really thought they were really impressive. They tread it like a cup final, Olympiacos, when they played you. And shit, man, I just hope that they're learning their lessons from it. I really, really hope. It's not so much Wenger, but I think I've said to you before, Chigs, I am a Wenger apologist, and I understand why people want change, but I also think there are things that he does that facilitate the players learning and growing and learning for themselves. He's the kind of manager that isn't going to go, you're doing that wrong. Like Mourinho will go, you're doing that wrong. Sam Allardyce will go, you're doing that wrong. Here's how to fix it. Here's what I want you to do. Wenger goes, yeah, that's wrong, isn't it? So what are you going to do about it? He wants the players to take ownership of the problem. He wants the players to fix the things for themselves. Principally because his two great sides were capable of doing that. And now he has a side that aren't capable of doing that. And he I wonder sometimes if he just stands there and goes like, why haven't they got their heads around this yet? Why haven't they got their heads around this yet? And I think, do you see where I'm coming from with this?
Most Arsenal fans.
Yeah. Patience, mate. Time. You can't buy time. The fans need to be. I understand why the fans are infuriated, and honestly, I'm telling you, from a guy who knows, a guy who knows the pain of throwing money around willy-nilly on anybody, that it doesn't always work. You can buy Wenger could go out and buy 15 players, and it's still a 50-50 bet on every single one of them. Every single one of them is a 50-50 bet. There are no guarantees in the transfer market. There are players that he has bought, as I said to you earlier, there are players that he's bought that look on paper to be a really, really good fix, a really, really good fit for Arsenal, their brand of football. But you have to be patient. They are not all going to score a hat-trick every time they come on the pitch. Arsenal are not going to go around beating teams 5 and 6-0 because it's the Premiership. We know what happens. Surely we all know what happens. You're going to go and play West Brom, they're going to park the bus. You're going to go and play Sunderland, they're going to park the bus. You're going to play Watford, they're going to park the bus. It's harder and harder and harder to break teams down. You know, you can't just go, well, we should beat these guys 15-0 or whatever. 3-0. Yeah, it doesn't work that way in the real world. In the real world, which isn't on Twitter. Oh, God. What's going on? I've lost you. Hello? Are you still there? Me.